So there's a perception that science is the polar opposite of spirituality. I get exactly why people have that perception, because sometimes it is. And also historically, that science has erupted into human culture 300-400 years ago and just taken off like a rocket. And it's done that increasingly critical of the ideologies which existed before, which were religious. Now, a lot of the founding fathers of science were deeply religious men at the time. But as it's gone on, there's become a new ideology which has become associated with science, which is reductionist, in that it takes the more emergent phenomena of life, such as me, a body, a human being, and reduces it to the lowest levels. So it takes everything basically down to physics. So the biology is reduced to physics, the human thinking is reduced to biology, and that is then reduced. So everything's being pulled down to a cause and effect world, meaning disappears. Well, everything disappears. You just end up with this kind of caricature of billiard ball universe with atoms hitting into each other and that kind of view. You get a view which is deterministic, which is a philosophy that everything is cause and effect. Therefore, although it is my subjective illusion that I'm choosing to say these words, actually, of course, if you could measure what was happening on a physical level, it's all just cause and effect. That seems a million miles away from spiritual ideas like you have moral choice, there is an immortal soul, life is a kind of magical journey full of meaning. None of that seems to hold with that view, and it doesn't. So there is a contradiction. But in essence, you've got a very interesting complementary view, so that, putting it very crudely, you can see that what science is asking is the question, what is it to the world? It's looking outwards to the world. What is it? What is it? What is it? Whereas fundamentally what spirituality is doing is the complementary question turning within, going, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who's this watching it? And they end up with these two very different views. What I'm trying to do for myself, and what I want to do as a philosopher, is to see whether we can provide scientific findings, discoveries, with a different philosophy other than this reductionist determinism. And even that, there's a huge number of scientists who don't hold with that view. That's a popular cartoonish-ish scientism version of what science is. Because actually, of course, science is a whole range of people, a range of philosophies. But that doesn't work. That will never mix with spirituality. Likewise, a kind of irrational woo-woo, if you like to use the phrase, spirituality, which can't question and thinks things through and just has a truth because it feels good, that's never going to fit with science. But if we can reframe a philosophy which can embrace the best of science, its real findings, with the best of spirituality, deep science and deep spirituality, then we've got a worldview which is a unitary worldview. And I'm convinced that the solution to that is the evolutionary picture. So what I've done in my book Soul Story with this emergent spirituality, or this unividualism as I call it, is to say, look, there's a wonderful narrative at the heart of science now, which is that everything has evolved. What if those elements we associate with spirituality have also evolved as part of that process? So that rather than seeing this 13.8 billion years of evolution going, ooh, the material universe for 10 billion years, and then the biological universe for 3 billion years, 4 billion years, that actually it's led to this other phase, which is the evolution of this non-material realm, which all of us are experiencing all of the time, which is the realm of the psyche. And the word psyche is the Greek word for soul. It's the soul dimension. In that process of evolution, there's been constantly the emergence of new things. Life was a new thing. Sensation's a new thing. Psyche's a new thing. And with psyche comes, I believe, all those elements which are associated with spirituality, magic, immortality. Magic I mean by meaning, the way that life plays out like a story. Elements which are not purely there in the physical world. and cannot be reduced to it. So the emergentist philosophy is the opposite of reductionism. It goes, the more that reality reveals itself through the evolutionary process, the more it becomes. So you can't reduce the greater whole to the parts. So somewhere in there, in that new philosophy, I think there's a way we can absolutely bring the best of spirituality and science together. And I think it's imperative we do. Because, well, an insight of Albert Einstein many decades ago, saying that one without the other is, it's like either a man walking with one leg. You need both.